Hi, it's me again. This time I'm changing it up. I don't know what to call this guy, but I picked this up at Hobby Lobby. And this little guy here, maybe we'll call him Red because of his beard or something, um, or Lucky Charms, maybe. I don't know because he's a St. Patrick's Day kind of character. But he reminds me a little bit of the beard and stuff. Reminds me a little bit of one of my nephews. Um, that I really like a lot. And he's done a lot for me. And I really, he's a really special nephew to me. They're all special, but I don't know. I like him a lot. And he knows who he is. I'm not going to really take too many names. But, he's got a beard just all like this. He knows. And a lot of other people know. But he's a very special person. He'll do just money for you if he can. He's just a really down to earth kind of person, and a little bit of a hillbilly in him, maybe even. But hey, he's a really good guy, and I really care about him. Anyways, my game is Battleship. I really love playing Battleship. I have a strategy of playing Battleship that usually gets me a win. Not always. But usually, it usually will get me a win. I don't know if I should tell you. It's ancient Chinese secret. No, I'll tell you. If you see that you got a grid up here on your board, I'll do better than that. Let me set my guy over. I gotta hang on. You gotta be part of it. Yeah, okay. And then I'll talk to you about something else here shortly. Want to talk to you a little bit about cars today. What I just thought. So you got this grid here, and what I like to do is I like to start in the corners. So you call the corners, 4 corners, and then I call the middle, and then I like to make an X all the way across like that. And usually, probably 80% of the time, you'll hit most of their ships. And if you don't hit them, you narrow it down pretty darn good, because those little quadrants, those 4 quadrants, it's easy then to finish them off, or to find it. It's a really good strategy. I don't know if I should have shared it, but give it a try. See, what's your kind of strategy on that? Battleship. That's mine. It's a very good strategy, and I have very good luck with it. Let's talk about cars. Okay. About 8:17-ish. I happened to be down with my father. At the time, he was in Portland, Michigan. And I don't know how the subject got up. I really don't know for sure on how it happened. But his neighbor was selling this car, and for, I think, maybe it wasn't too expensive. It was like maybe $400. I don't know if he gave my dad a good deal, or he just, I don't know. But it ended up being orange. Ended up being a 72 Buick Skylark, and I love that car. And to tell you the truth, if I get a chance later on in my life, I mean, I'm getting pretty old, but if I have a chance, maybe 10 years from now, get a house, finally get another house, and get situated again, and maybe I don't, maybe if finances can afford it, I'd like to get another one. But if I don't, I don't. I'm not going to be. I'm not one of those persons that's going to overspend in my budget just so I can have something. I'm trying not to even. I just like to be somewhat conservative, and if it's kind of on a bucket list, but not. My bucket lists are kind of like, well, If I can afford it, yes. But if I can't afford it, it ain't gonna happen. And but just be aware of that. Don't use a credit card unless you really have to. You know, I've been down that road. But maybe that's a different story down. But I had a 72 Buick Skylark. 18. Gas prices were back then probably 60, 50 cents a gallon, 60, maybe 75. They were gradually going up around that period when I got my car, around 1985, um, and so I drove that for, gosh, a few years anyways. And it was a car for a stock, just regular stock car. It could lay some rubber. Yeah, I did. Not that I did do that a little bit once in a while. As a teenager. I even did donuts, and all that foolish things that a young person does when they get a car and they just want to see what it does. One time I raced it against somebody. I was only about a car length behind them, but they had a 4-barrel carburetor. I only had 2-barrel, but it still would go. I love that car, and I unfortunately pulled out in front of a car. I didn't see it. I thought I looked both ways, and then I looked back to my left. You left, right. You should left, right, and back to left. I was making a left-hand turn. I should have. I think that's what I did. I just didn't look back that way. I looked back looked kind of clear. Looked that way, and I just started to pull out, and there he was. Younger kid, about my age. Maybe a little younger, but in a van. I think he was a little bit speed. Might have been a blind spot, whatever it was. I take responsibility for it. When the minute he came out like that, I matted it, man, and I tried to swing it around, but he bricks, and he's braking, and he's coming over in this lane. So, if he could have swung this way a little bit more. Fate just didn't have it, and he caught me right there at that beam, right there by my door, and spun me around, put him in the ditch on its side. Nobody was hurt. That's the most important thing. Nobody was hurt. Accidents do happen, and trying to blame other people, or doing the blaming game. Take some responsibility if you feel maybe it was your fault. Usually it's the fault of both people, usually, but sometimes not. But trying to run a yellow light, another car's coming by, it's green for him. And maybe he was going 55, and he was going to start to slow down, but hey, that turned green. He didn't have to, and you're trying to run a yellow light, and you just about get underneath it, and it turns red, and all things happen all the time, and just be careful out there driving. If you want to call people idiot, I guess you can, but you know what? I guess I've been an idiot then sometimes driving. I think we all have been idiots sometimes driving. But just watch out for the other driver. And not only just for you, but watch out for the other driver. Pay attention to your surroundings. That's you know, and then as far as cars go, I've probably owned, uh, I could get a list, but I've owned a few older cars. I've owned a few older trucks. I love a truck. My best truck I've ever had was I loved a Ford Ranger. And I love this little thing. I like a little smaller car, but boy, I tell you, I could haul with that thing. And I've had to I've replaced the transmission on it once, and I ran it where I've had to shift. Yeah, I had to rig up some stuff on that thing. But you know, I've learned to be a mechanic on most of my vehicles because I was on a budget, and my budget could not afford to let somebody else work on my cars when they're going to charge $50 to $100 an hour, where it's something I could fix for, you know, maybe takes me 20 minutes to fix it and maybe $50 for the parts. That's in my budget. Not $150, not $200, $50 within my budget, so that's what it cost. I gotta cut this video off. I don't want to keep them too long. I'm trying not to keep them about 10 minutes. Sometimes I can get talking about other things, but yeah. So if you got a comment about what maybe this guy's name should be, I'd like to hear about it. For now, I think maybe I'll just call him Lucky Charms. All right, thank you.